Your feeds on Instagram, Facebook and Threads will soon show even more hateful posts and comments, and will also feature even more divisive political content and fake news, if they aren't already. Why is this happening? How is this affecting you, and what can you do about it?
So we're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our platforms.
Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg has announced big changes to the company's moderation policies. The move has prompted a lot of criticism globally. Brazil's government, for example, gave Meta a 72-hour deadline to explain the changes, because they argue they are putting users in harm's way. You might say, Meta changing some guidelines. What's that got to do with me? Here's a drastic example of what can happen when a social platform doesn't take any responsibility for content shared by users. In 2017, Myanmar's military launched a campaign of ethnic cleansing against the Rohingya minority. That resulted in mass killings, rapes and the displacement of over 700,000 people. Facebook's algorithms amplified and promoted anti-Rohingya content, spreading hate speech and incitement to violence. Despite warnings, Facebook didn't take adequate action to curb the harmful content. In December 2021, Rohingya refugees filed a class action lawsuit against Meta, seeking nearly 150 billion euros in damages. The case hasn't settled yet. Are those the roots Zuckerberg wants to go back to? Meta's new policies will directly impact your feed. The three most notable changes will be: more hate speech. Meta is loosening the definition of hate speech. According to the company's updated content rules, this primarily affects topics like immigration and gender. The investigative platform The Intercept got their hands on leaked training materials for Meta employees. These documents reveal that statements like these are now considered acceptable. Immigrants are grubby, filthy pieces of shit. Gays are freaks. Or black people are more violent than whites. However, some other harmful content like blackfacing and Holocaust denial are still banned. Civil rights groups have criticized Meta's policy changes. They warn it could lead to more harassment and discrimination against marginalized communities. For all others, it will most probably mean a much more aggressive atmosphere on Instagram and co. Then there will be more political content in your feed. Meta limited the reach of political content in 2021 after users complained about seeing too many divisive posts. Meta said it was trying to create a more positive and less contentious environment. In early 2024, the company even stopped proactively recommending political content to users. Now they're reversing the course. Meta says it's removing restrictions on frequent topics and debates. So if you see more inflammatory political discussions, for example on Threads, this is why. And last but definitely not least, no more fact-checking. Meta is ditching its fact-checking program. For now, this applies to the US, but many other countries will likely follow. Meta had started using external fact-checkers after the 2016 US presidential election, in response to hefty criticism over the spread of misinformation. Now, Meta is shifting responsibility to users with a tool called Community Notes. This feature will let contributors add context to posts. For us, this means we need to be even more skeptical about what we read and see on social media to avoid falling for disinformation and outright lies. Experts warn this decision could lead to more political radicalization. It might also mean even more extreme articles from your fanatical uncle on the family chat. But let me play devil's advocate for a second. It is indeed very difficult to weigh freedom of speech against the rights of minorities. Meta insists they are trying to reinstall policies that allow more individual expression on their platforms. But many argue Zuckerberg's main goal is to appeal to the incoming US President Donald Trump. At the same time, cutting costs on content moderation will make investors happy. So, what can we do about it? In case you feel Meta's platforms are becoming toxic, you'll have a tough choice to make. Live with it or leave and look for alternatives. Meta does have to obey regional rules. It is still possible that they will have to make compromises in other countries, especially in the EU, where user protection laws are pretty robust. or in Brazil, as I mentioned before. But that probably won't be enough to prevent a harsher atmosphere on Meta's platforms. Alternatives are in the works. Prominent figures in the online community, such as Wikipedia founder Jimmy Wales, actor Mark Ruffalo, and Mozilla Foundation President Mark Surman, are backing a new initiative. Its goal? To protect a technology known as the AT protocol. This protocol serves as the backbone of the social app Blue Sky and is designed to foster an open social media ecosystem that can't be controlled by a single person or company. The initiative, called Free Our Feeds, plans to raise $30 million over 3 years to hire a small team and build independent social media infrastructure. What do you think of the idea? And have you already experienced changes in your Instagram or Facebook feed? Let us know and see you next time.